Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the Sagittarius cycle of, Astro Soup. That's the name of the podcast.
Want some
Anyway,
soup, Leslie? You want some soup?
it looks the same as the last time.
Well, we're
Come
still in the
on.
same planetary cycle. Here, I'll move some
So
stuff around.
you're telling me that during Sagittarius, a person has to eat the same soup every week.
No,
That
I'll add
doesn't
something. I'll
that
add
doesn't
something.
sound like very saggy, although Jupiter is in Cancer, so.
I
Um,
added something to the soup,
what did
and
you
I
add?
stir,
I missed
and I
it.
stir it around. I don't even know what this vegetable is. I don't know what planet it is either, but it's a lime, maybe.
What it looks like a grenade. That's what it looks.
Oh my God, it's it's Mars and Sagittarius, but that was in there last week, so I don't know.
Okay, so you brought a stuffed animal. This is my teddy bear.
Oh, what's its
Name is
name?
Homer.
Homer.
Yeah, isn't he cute?
Yes, he's so cute. How when did you get Homer?
I don't remember. I bought him at Christmas probably, oh my, maybe 10 years ago. He's not being very forthcoming about this at all, so it's not helpful.
What's his sign though?
Um, I don't know. What does he look like to you? He looks kind of, he's
He's
very
early.
sweet. Huh?
He's brown. He's probably a Taurus.
I, eh,
Well,
I,
this is
I
what
think we have more important things to do.
here's the Taurus room and here's the Capricorn room. I think he looks more Taurus.
Well, I thought he had such a sweet expression on his face. I thought he looked more Piscean.
Oh, interesting. No, I'll show you a
Then he's
Pisces.
my teddy bear, so.
Show you a Pisces. Check out this guy.
Oh, did you make that?
I did, I just made it. He's a dragon, although he doesn't really look like a dragon, but
Oh my God, he's so cute.
isn't he a Pisces dragon? No.
Okay,
Hi, Leslie. You're doing a great job.
okay. And if anybody has any stuffed animals they'd like to share, it's
Yeah, let's
um
stuffed
You
animals.
know, I have to say that Andy is the person that helped me realize that doing the podcast is like playing, as opposed to it always just being hard work. Not that it's not work, but okay. So I guess we've exhausted. We can take this about as far as we can take it.
Now the dragon's gonna eat some soup. Let's hear what's in the bowl. Ah.
And you know what Homer said? Thank God I'm nowhere near that soup.
Oh, Homer doesn't like the transits for this week. What's the deal?
No, I guess we're going to talk about oh, just a little bit of a tease. Always like to tease a little. We like to tease each other if you can. Um, and I enjoy this part of our show because it always puts me in a good mood, which is important for the people who,
Oh,
oh,
look at
somebody
her.
brought their teddy bear. Oh
Oh,
my God, that's so adorable. I
what's your
love
teddy
teddy bears.
bear's name?
I don't have one for him.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's too
I
bad.
need
Well,
one.
5874. His name is 15874.
My name is Shona, by the way.
nice to meet you, Shona. Thanks
Yeah.
You
for
too.
joining us. Okay, so Homer just announced he does not want me. He's even got a really pretty red sparkly nose. He doesn't want to be put on the floor, so I guess that's um so we're going to be talking about what's in the bowl, and then we're going to move on to playing with the Moon Oracle, which is a new deck it's not new. I've had it for a long time, and someone actually gave it to me because they didn't think that it really was something that they vibed with, and then we're going to do our weekly color card because we always do that, and then play we're playing with that Moon Oracle, then the color card, then plumbing the depths, and I'm not really sure exactly what the what that's going to be because I was just told to play it by ear, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And what else? No, that's it. I will show you the deck, and the book that goes with it. It's not Moonology, although I did ask somebody. That's on my Christmas list for this year, because after all, now that I have a podcast, I have to expect. I used to have a lot more Oracle decks, and I gave at least half of them away to clients. And then, so we're going to talk about plumbing the depths, which is really looking to find whatever spiritual message there might be. Because, we always assume that, anyways, I was just going to say something that the rest of my brain said that's not true, so I stopped. And I'm having a dispute with myself. Okay, and then we're going to do a brief meditative exercise around the new moon. And this one's a humdinger, and plus an update about what's going to happen in the Capricorn cycle, which I kind of alluded to in the previous. Thanks for the input on the deck of cards, Briar. I appreciate that very much. Anyway, so I have cards and I have notes, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing. No, oh my God, I did it to myself again. I moved stuff around and I don't know where I put it. This is not amusing.
Do you want to see more of my soup?
Okay, could you get some new would you get some new vegetables, please? I was busy reading
Sure.
Shona's message.
I have no idea what this is, but it's going in.
Okay.
And a fried egg.
Okay, so we're on to what's in the bowl, if my memory's working somewhat correctly. Not really sure. So there's a couple of big events this week on the new moon. And first of all, before that, Mars leaves the sign of Sagittarius and moves into the sign of Capricorn. So that's a shift in energy away from Mars and Sag just needs adventures, looking for travel, is enthusiastic and ready to do whatever it takes just to be in motion. Because Mars in a fire sign does not like to sit still. And I actually kind of noticed that yesterday when I had my family over for we have dinner and trim my Christmas tree, and everybody was just wired the whole time. And in a fun way. I don't mean it was bad. It was just, yeah. So Mars in Capricorn is a steadier energy. It's really focused on consequences and where can I focus all my energy that is productive? So there's going to be a little bit of a shift away from party time, although it's very short-lived, because the new moon which is obviously the sun and the moon together in the same sign, is in Sagittarius, and it's in very late degrees. And I know that I mentioned when I was talking in the previous episode that this is going to be a very complex new moon. So first we have the Mars moving into Capricorn, and that's going to feel really important. That because whenever Mars changes the focus of its energy, Mars in Capricorn is most probably the most focused Mars gets on a specific practical objective. And so it's always a good time, to it's not that you can't initiate things, but if you initiate something as Mars moves into Capricorn, you need to be ready to see it through to completion, because Mars is about getting the job done, but it can get bored along the way if its efforts aren't bringing any sense of satisfaction. So what's satisfying to Mars? Well, that it's engaged in something. If it gets too long and too boring, it can lose interest really easily. Which is why Mars and Saturn often have a bit of a tussle because Mars just wants to get on with it, and Saturn says, well, things take time. You can't just. So Mars in Capricorn is the best, can be the best expression of that energy if you want to accomplish something. Does it, any comments about that?
Yeah, Mars exalted in Capricorn. It does extremely well there. I mean, from what I've seen in my years being an astrologer, it's not super pathological there. It doesn't cause a lot of problems, but it's like the people get mad and put their foot down, like Capricorn's a knee, so you get mad, you're like, no, and then we need different policies and structures. So I think you're right, it's a lot more grounded than we've had with Mars being in Sagittarius. A lot more policy driven and building driven and but not super combative. It's more, takes,
Well, only if you get in the way of its objective.
yeah, interesting.
Yeah. So that's often the best use of Mars energy if you seek to get something done. Sounds like a good time to do some manifesting with this new moon. Well, thank you for saying that, Briar, because that gives me an opportunity to segue right into this new moon. So over the last several months, every new moon has been at 27, 28, or 29 degrees of a sign. So the energy of any planet, even the moon, moving through the last degrees of a sign is about letting something go, about completing something so you can move on. But the new moon is about initiating something. It's not about doing, it's about initiating it, planting the seeds for something. And so this is going to be very interesting, partly, and I'm going to give you a visual cue about how complex is particularly because so I've taken to drawing happy little cards with the planetary symbols on them so that they have a sense of reality to them for okay. So what's the sun and what's a new moon? It's the sun and the moon together, which is always very interesting because the sun is considered to be fire energy and the moon is water energy. These are the most potent creative forces. Earth and air, their job is to interpret the water and the fire. Because the water is about the feeling, the sensing, and obviously the sun is always about essence. And then it's an intangible because if you look at the sun, we can see it, but can we really see it? I know that sounds crazy, but so here they are together, and they're together in, oops, what the hell? Okay, now I can't, oh, I've got two. I appreciate everybody's patience while I get my act together. Okay, they're in the sign of Sagittarius. So Sag is about spontaneity, adventure, but it's also about the search for meaning. So where are my experiences actually going to touch my heart in some way that's intangible? So you've got all of this going on, and then guess what? So then we add Venus,
Wow, good visuals.
and then we add overhead, and then we add Mercury.
Really?
So this is what we call in astrology a stellium, and a stellium is a concentration of energy in a particular sign. So we have a lot of Sag energy. So we're going to want to expand and just put the pedal to the metal. But interestingly enough, Mars is in Capricorn. So that allows us to take a bit of a breath before we move. Thanks for sharing. Shona has Venus and Mercury together. Now, interestingly enough, Mercury's fairly early in the stellium in degree, and these
Four.
We're just going to move the planetary sign and put it over here because that's a better place for it. Anyway, these three are joined at the hip, is the best way to put it. So this is party central. Like, I want to go out, I want to socialize, I want to meet new people, I want to be challenged, because Sag does not, Sag does, shares one thing in common with the sign opposite, which is Gemini. They hate to be bored. They want to be entertained, either by stories or sharing thoughts, that kind of thing. Do you have anything to add to that, Miss Andy?
Well, it's funny because I didn't even know. I love getting my astro news from this show. And because I did a lot of astrologers, we don't have time to watch the inner planets, but that is amazing. The sun, moon, and Venus together at the end of Sag. Like what, yeah, like what an amazingly sweet and exciting and exuberant time, So if you have anything at those late degrees of like mutable signs, for example, which would be Sag, Pisces, Virgo, or Gemini, I
We're
think
getting there.
sorry.
Getting there. We're getting there because there's a lot going on. So then, just when you think the party's really getting started, along comes Saturn and Neptune. They're in late Pisces. And so it's kind of going to feel like, so trying to modulate your energy so that you're still expanding and enjoying yourself, but not doing anything really crazy, because I can't hold everything all the time. So this brings a burst of energy, and this is intuitive psychic energy. Because again, the new moon is in the dark. There isn't any light. You're going to be going on impulse and feeling. And fire signs are very happy with following your intuition. Now, sometimes astrologers get hung up on what element is most closely associated with intuition. And strangely enough, I remember when I was first studying astrology, most people would have thought it was water, right? But the truth is, some research, and that research could be gone by now, but fire is much connected to it more than water, because this is inspiration. If that makes any sense, I think it does. But so you've got all this energy, you've got this powerhouse of movement, this burst of energy, and you have to be a little bit careful not to overdo it. And because we're so close to Christmas, this is where the Saturn comes in. Now, the Neptune is likely to tell you do whatever feels right to you, right? Because the Sun square Saturn Neptune is what is reality versus what's a fantasy. Now, under this, guys, you can start a really great creative project on this new moon. Now, you may not have a structure for it. That's not really what's important, because the predominance of the energy is to follow your instincts and to begin to craft a structure once you know exactly what is talking to you. What is guiding you? What are your dreams? What's your vision? So this is a very powerful new moon, and it's square the new moon that we had in Virgo in September, and sextiles the one in Libra that we had at the end of October, towards the end of October. A lot of action, a lot of activity. And going to be a really important time for meeting people who might fuel your dreams. And, this kind of energy. And the interesting thing is then, to get even more complicated, Jupiter, which is happily the boss of all of this energy, happens to be in the sign of Cancer, which is the moon sign. And so then we have them playing, oh, let's live in each other's house. So as much as it might feel like when Saturn comes along and says slow your roll and Mars in Capricorn says slow your roll, it's so that you can make use of all of this energy in a way that plants seeds for the future. Does that make sense? Makes sense to me, but hey,
Me. Makes sense to me. Yeah, I love getting my astro news from your show because it's really
well,
my favorite place.
and I thank you for it because I never thought about doing it this way, but visuals are very important. And when you can see all of this going on and then all the other pieces and parts, and then along the way, Uranus could upset the apple cart.
Yeah, I
So,
was going to ask you that how the Uranus interacts, but the Uranus is at way early Gemini and this is at way late Gemini. So
no, it's in late Taurus right now, my dear. I know you're in a hurry to get it for it to get into Gemini, but it's not. So, it's another planet that's at 29 degrees, 28, 29 degrees. So it's a lot. So there's a lot in the midst of, clearing the decks for something new. You can't just jump to the something new. You have to be prepared. And if you do that, the planets that are in late degrees are going to come along and say, excuse me, because I drew another, which essentially, oh, there it is. It's very small. I'm sorry, I didn't draw it any larger than this. But there's a yod in there. So we have squares. So what does all this mean? Adjustment. So again, if you are too precipitate in taking action, Uranus is going to come along and pat you on the head and say, now hang on for a second. You have to deal with reality first. You have to change your reality. So in other words, to manifest the potential of this, I can't, what did I just say? My brain just went sideways. Can't remember. You have to take care of you have to make sure that you anchor change in you have to anchor change in your life before you can manifest all this wonderful stuff. So it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this because I want to, and I'm just going to ignore the stuff that needs attending to. Because Saturn and Uranus are sextile each other, so this is a really good time as we move into next year to sort of get the things sorted out, get things cleaned out, and then get ready to move.
We have a question in the chat, which is what do we need to do to manifest all these planets together?
Well, that's a good question. So because you have essence, your basic core, connected to your feelings, your emotional legacy, how you process emotions. And of course, a lot of this depends on what your particular birth chart looks like, because we're talking about this energy in isolation of itself and what it brings to the table. And like, for instance, if we were to talk about this is all in all of this new moon sits in my fifth house of creativity and trines my midheaven. What does that mean if we take out the astrologies? A powerful time for me to continue to ground my creativity so I can move more out into the world. Is that a good interpretation? I'm not good at interpreting my own stuff, as are most astrologers. We're really good at talking about other people's, but so how do you manifest this energy? Well, Venus has to do with meeting people. Mercury has to do with, thinking through your ideas, and because Mercury in Sagittarius can bounce all over the place because it's looking for meaning. So this is a good time. First of all, you have to know what's meaningful to you. That's really what this is about. Because at the late degrees, you need to be able to build on what you know is meaningful to you. What is creativity to you? There's a really creative energy here, and you don't have to master it by tomorrow. And you're not going to because it's all fire. Mars in Capricorn is going to give you an opportunity to find a pathway forward in a practical way. But first comes the inspiration. Thanks, Marlene, for helping Shona out with that. I appreciate that. So now, of course, I want to say this, when I share this information, you get to decide what resonates for you. That's not my job. My job is to describe the energies, and then you get to use them and listen to. And if something doesn't speak to you, that it just doesn't speak to you, because not everything resonates to everyone. All I can do is describe what I see and hope it makes sense. Because, I always
I love
question.
your astro forecasts.
So I think we have covered that.
Marlene's got something in the frame. I'm curious about that.
But
She put some like a feather and a key and a stone.
Oh, I just kind of grouped them together. I had this hawk feather at the sort of the side earlier when we were doing the readings, and I just, you know,
decided to share it with us in a different formation.
no, but I'm just saying, like Leslie, just, the way that you interpret it, it hits. Who doesn't it hit? It just always hits.
Mm.
Thank you.
That's my girl. That's my girl.
Yeah, well. See,
Yeah,
she knows what. Thank you so much, Marlene. That means very much to me.
Leslie, you're the one that turned me on to astrology, right? Like the one thing I love about Leslie is no matter who you are, you're going to show up. Um, like for me, I've got a lot of like Capricorn moon, which is not always like I'm always fighting with my feelings. And she's always like, you're allowed to feel what you feel. You're allowed, like, she is like just so, um, what I've learned from Leslie is that everyone is different and they're allowed to be. You're allowed to be who you are. You're allowed to feel what you feel. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So,
exactly.
and I appreciate that always.
Well, and I'm glad that you said that because it does speak to what I just said. Yeah, everybody is going to feel differently about what I've said. They're going to respond differently, and you really do need to honor your own feeling. Because I always see my job as to use astrology as a way to lead you to your personal wisdom. And of course, it's not going to be surprising that I have a really strong Jupiter in my chart because I know people think that wisdom is a Saturn thing, but I'm not so sure I agree. But that's the beauty of most divinatory languages. Like I once had a hairstylist who his grandparents started a spiritual church in England. So he grew up, being okay with his psychic ability. And he once said to me, well, I was playing with these tarot cards and I get a different message than what it says in the book. I said, well, you should listen to your intuition because you're the one that's working with them. And the beauty of divination is it's an art. It's not meant, it's supposed to have guidelines, but everybody's going, even in astrology, there are many different ways to practice astrology, and each of them has things to that makes it sound like there are things not to recommend it, and that's not what I mean. But yeah, I'm always interested in facilitating people getting in touch with their own wisdom. So I was talking to you about that book that that I was given with the deck of cards, and it just suddenly I noticed it in my bookshelf, which is spirit, as Marlene would say, talking to me. So this is the book I was talking about. It's The Moon Oracle. Let the Phases of the Moon Guide Your Life. It's still in publication, although it's got a different cover now, I think. And the author is Carolyn Smith and John Astrop. So what it does is it has a card for each of the 8 phases of the moon in each of the elements. So you can connect to it and find, this new moon, and here's the card that goes with it. And now, interestingly enough, they don't call it a new moon, they call it a black moon because the moon is completely dark. And that's the card. It says recharge. And it's all in reds, as you can see.
Can you show it closer? Oh, interesting. Okay.
I don't know about you, but I kind of thought it looked like a vagina. I had to say that. Anyway,
Are we in an is this an adult show?
yes,
Okay.
I wouldn't, anyway. Well, besides, really, I could say some things, but
Sag is pretty rock and roll, so I'm glad you said something rock and roll.
because I was going to say each baby that's born is very well familiar with vagina. My mouth gets me into trouble a lot. So anyway, here the word is recharge. And I always think it's a good idea. For me, I'm always interested in looking at different points of view and how people see things. It says this phase is dormant, and that's not how I feel about it. But again, it's always a good idea to investigate other perceptual frameworks. So that's what we're doing today. Now, in addition, they picked a goddess for each of the sun signs. And this is very interesting. The goddess that they picked for Sagittarius is Kali. Now, I can't say that this is something I'm ultra familiar with. Marlene, do you have any knowledge of Kali that might be helpful? Because Marlene went away somewhere just when I needed her. Anyway,
She's a Hindu goddess of destruction, right?
yeah.
So
But it's interesting because did I? So before we get to Kali, I just wanted to read a little bit about what it says about the black moon and fire. If it's moon in Sagittarius, this is a time when you're torn between illusion and reality. The need to withdraw into yourself to acquire new energy conflicts with your desire to be somewhere else. So it kind of sits, connects to what I was saying. And of course she doesn't. Now this is really interesting. She doesn't think that the the fire new moon or the fire black moon is comfortable with darkness. And I'm not so sure that I agree with that, but I think it's, first of all, I really love the artwork in this deck of cards. It's really powerful and it's colorful because I like color. So Kali, let's see what you had to say about Kali. Okay.
in the chat it says Kali is the goddess of time, change, creation, preservation, and destruction. She is known as the divine Mother, which is like mother.
I like that. That's very concise and I like that. So she considers Kali to be a black moon goddess. So everything from Virgo onward.
Do you have any commentary about how the new moon's at the galactic center?
No, I did not have that.
Well, I haven't heard of it either. I just was curious.
Well, Now, I don't ignore the galactic moon, but I know this is going to sound like it doesn't always talk to me, or it hasn't talked to me up to this point. I don't mean that it's not important. I think it's powerfully important if that new moon. Oh no, Shona, we're talking about the galactic center, the center of our galaxy.
And the
Is,
new moon happens to be at the galactic center, pretty much the sun.
and so that's not something that I've really. Do you want to? Have you got time to just do a quick lookup of the galactic center so you can describe it? Because apparently that's not something that's coming easily to me.
Yeah, I don't know a lot about it either, which is why I asked you. I mean, I know it's supposed to be so it says the galactic center is the dynamic center of the Milky Way, a region approximately 27,000 light years in the direction of Sagittarius. It's a supermassive black hole. Let's see it. Let's look up galactic center and astrology.
Well, and the other
Um,
thing, even that brief description kind of, because it is a new moon, and that's considered to be what we call a black hole.
So it says it
There,
simplifies profound spiritual insights, cosmic awareness, and gateways to higher consciousness, especially when planets align with it, representing deep universal understanding beyond normal perception.
interesting, because I did say something about search for meaning, and um, you know, I want to do. I do want to say this about that, and that is that not all symbolic symbols, whether it's a galactic center or any of the other things, don't always speak to every single astrologer. Um, I know that the galactic center is important to a number of people. It's just that it's not something that I really work with, and so I hesitate to say a lot about it. However, and of course, the part of me that thinks I should know everything
Hmm. You're
doesn't
supposed
know
to
what
be
to say when you ask
curious.
me a question about something that's not really, so it's not something that I work with on a regular basis.
Well, you see, I didn't know it either. I mean, I think our job as podcast hosts is probably to be curious, not know everything.
I
But
didn't say it wasn't to be curious. I'm just acknowledging that I got knocked off balance, and I'm just being real.
all right.
And so, the other thing, of course, is that if it's something, while we've been talking about it and batting it back and forth, if the words galactic center touch you in any way, shape, or form, then you should do some research into it and find out if it resonates for you, why it resonates, if it's something that's really calling to you deeply. And that's just it. As humans, not all same things call to all of us. So, yeah, I hope that I hope that helps. Because I'm not going to pretend that I know something when I don't know something, even
I
though
mean,
part of
maybe we could say that this new moon might be exceptionally powerful interdimensionally, and then there might be some higher consciousnesses, available.
well, I think it's always fascinating because I really believe we're spiritual beings having a human experience in the first place. So, but again, there's a reason why different things speak to different people, because the pathway to the divine, or however you want to typify that or describe it, it is an individual thing, even though we're all we're already there in some ways, but just as humans, we don't always know them, which is why we've developed so many languages of symbols to assist us in the process of navigating the third dimension and reminding ourselves of the connection that we have. However that speaks to you is however that speaks to you. And that's a very sad thing, although, Sag can get stuck in, I know the right answer. And it's kind of like, fire signs do have a tendency to be my way or the highway. Just any comments, Andy?
No, I think that was great. Super. I mean, there's only 15 minutes left, so yeah, I
Well,
think
no, I guess we won't be doing that meditative exercise then.
oh, okay.
Well, I don't know. I don't know where am I in my schedule. I got, oh, and the, so I could do the final card from the moon thing, or I can do the meditative exercise. What would everybody like? Well, we're down to just the four of us, so.
Any votes? I would love to hear the meditation personally, but
You're allowed to vote, aren't you?
I don't know. The dragon wants the meditation.
Okay, so actually, oh, thanks, Shona. I really appreciate that. Um, okay. Um, so I'm going to remind everyone that I always begin by inviting you to go to your safe space, your safe place. And if you've never used that technique before, I'll just give you a second or two. Just close your eyes and take some comfortable, easy breath. And feel your energy connect to your body and to the divine. Feel the energy that connects you to the center of the earth, and wiggle your toes if you need to. And now I want you to feel that limitless energy that comes from other frequencies. Feel that unconditional love that is always available to you at any moment in time. And now that you are standing in your safe place, wherever that is, and you feel the warmth and the joy and that sense of homecoming. And now we're going to do a little bit of a meditative exercise around the new moon, the feeling that comes. Envision yourself as the moon. Feel all the feelings that your consciousness and your body carry. And now that you're comfortable with that feeling of being at home inside yourself, inside the moon that's inside you. Because when you were born, the moon played a significant role in your appearing on this planet. And she is always at your beck and call through each of the phases that happen every 27 to 28 days. And now you can see an archer in front of you. And you know the moon is in Sagittarius. And the moon in Sagittarius is all about freedom on the inside that then can be translated to the external world. So search for your bow and arrow. It will help you in connecting to that solar energy. You want to pull that solar energy into your body. So that it can begin a great process of creativity, taking you to create an expansion of yourself, of the world that you live in. Because one of the energies of Sagittarius is to go out in the world, hence the arrow. You have something inside you that needs expressing externally. But first, you must gather that energy into yourself before you can express it outwardly. So take a moment to hold that energy close and keep it with you. So that it's ready for you to bring wisdom to yourself, as well as share the knowledge and the wisdom that you've gained through living your life. No matter our ages, we always, always bring something to the table that can inspire others. And every year's new moon in Sagittarius, because it does happen once a year, is an invitation to continue to do that. This particular year carries an intense amount of power with it, but power of the inspiring kind, of the kind of the generosity, and love and cherishing the world that you live in and then the world that you can help create every single day. This really fits nicely with one of the sayings in the I Ching, which is you cannot change the world unless you're prepared to change yourself. And that begins by knowing who you are at your essence, in your essence, and being able to claim that and be that. So again, absorb the warmth of the sun and draw it into your moon and allow it to begin to gestate and create something that will fuel your life going forward. And now, when you're ready, come back into your body, all the way into your body, and open your eyes. And we didn't pick a color card, and we have enough time to
Great.
do
That was great.
Okay, any feedback? Sorry. Any feedback?
Feel like I'm talking too much. Shauna says I feel like a Care Bear with a great big beam coming out of my center.
Oh, that's beautiful, Shona. Shona, that's lovely.
Yeah.
I love that.
I really love the quote about if you're gonna change yourself, you gotta change or change the world, you gotta change yourself. It made me think of the song "Man in the Mirror." Have you ever heard of that song? I'm talking about the man in the mirror.
Oh, that was lovely. Now I want to cry.
Mm.
Not because I'm
The
sad.
dragon has fallen asleep.
What? Oh,
Dragon is asleep. How's the teddy bear?
I just looked at Homer and he said, he looks very peaceful and very, very content. Very content.
Oh, look at that guy. He changed himself during the meditation.
Yeah, well, if people think that everything doesn't have energy, they're wrong. Right?
That's right.
Okay. Okay, let's pick a color card. Okay, one for the new moon, because that's more important than anything. And if it will take, oh, finally it decided to come out. All right. Oh, oh, that's interesting. It's lilac. Strengthen your faith. Isn't that interesting?
Wow. Interesting.
Okay, and as always, we have a wrap it up to share. And this is, I love this one. This is from Eleanor Roosevelt. If life were predictable, it would cease to be life and be without flavor. Very perfect for a new moon, right?
Makes me want to eat my soup.
Yeah, yeah, I can hardly, I'm actually going to be in Toronto when that new moon happens, so it'll be interesting. Actually, I'll be out for dinner with astrologers. Could I have picked a better way to celebrate it? Anyways, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in to my podcast and bringing your thoughts and feelings, whether you're watching it now or you're watching it later. And until next time, be true to yourself.